Good evening and welcome to Talk of the Neighborhoods. I'm Joe Heisler, your host, coming to you from the BNN Live studios, Eggleston Square, Jamaica Plain, where tonight on the Boston Neighborhood Network, well, we'll bring you our usual helping of politics, but tonight in two parts, two courses, so to speak. First up, for 6 years, she's held arguably the toughest job in the city of Boston, and maybe I should say no doubt the toughest job. She just announced her retirement. She's leaving as the superintendent of the Boston Public Schools. And tonight we'll talk with Dr.Carol Johnson about her decision to leave and what's ahead for her. Joining her, the man who's succeeding her, at least on an interim basis, John McDonough joins us as well to talk about what's ahead for the Boston Public Schools in this turbulent election year. Then on the second half, well, I call him the pundit extraordinaire. He is a former Boston City Councilor, now several years removed, but certainly still the man that many people talk to about politics, and certainly this year in the mayoral race. Michael McCormack joins us, and we'll talk about the mayor's race and what's ahead as we hit the summer doldrums and headed into the home stretch. All that and more tonight on Talking the Neighborhoods. All right, we're back with Talking the Neighborhoods. I'm Joe Heisler, your host. Tonight, a two-part show, and in this first half, we say goodbye to an old friend, I will say, who has never passed on a chance to come in and talk to us about Boston school politics. Anytime you're talking about schools, controversy, but she's never ducked an opportunity to come in and talk with us. She announced her resignation this spring. After 6 years, Dr. Carol Johnson is going to be leaving the Boston Public Schools. Tonight she joins us, as well as her successor on an interim basis, the CFO of the Boston School Department, John McDonough, joins us as well. And I want to thank you both for coming in and joining us.
Thank you, Joe.
Congratulations. I think
Joe.
we say congratulations on retirement. And I want to turn to you first. Difficult, because I remember when you came and we talked about this, and we talked about what a tough job it was, and of course you've had tough jobs in the past in other school systems, but you never let up. What made you decide now to step back from?
Well, the work I've done is exciting work and work that I've really enjoyed. I think a combination of things. Some people know that my husband passed this year. Yes. And then, of course, Mayor Menino's announcement that he was not going to seek re-election certainly had an impact. I've had just a wonderful opportunity to work with talented people, and it's really a team effort. And so I look forward to still doing something in education, but not necessarily at the pace and the 24/7, 365 that I've grown accustomed to.
Well, I don't know how you did it anyway, but and you know, you mentioned Mayor Menino, because I know he was very supportive of you throughout, and you know, anytime in a system like this, there's always controversy, but he always seemed to have your back.
Absolutely.
As when he decided to move on, you said, well.
Well, I think that I think we've accomplished quite a bit. I mean, there will always be more to do, but I think that we've focused on children. We've tried to focus on all the children. I think we've made a real impact with our English language learners. We've reached out to more parents, and with our Welcome Services Division, our Parent University, and a lot of community meetings. We've had a lot of people involved in a lot of dialogue. And I think we've also really improved the opportunities for a lot of kids who didn't have access to the arts. Or we have wellness champions in every school now to focus on health and wellness, because we think those things are directly tied to student success. And I think most importantly, probably, we've improved graduation rates every single year. And we've reclaimed hundreds of kids who had dropped out and re-enrolled them and helped them to graduate. I think at the end of the day, that's the most important work. And I think the community is better because we've worked really hard to focus on children, and I think to turn around schools that haven't really worked for kids in the past.
Well, I got to tell you, and I've told you this before, I give you big points for just your willingness to engage people in seemingly impossible tasks, when you talk about closing the achievement gap, which indeed you have gotten closer to, but many people would say is almost impossible to do. So I give you big points, and I'm sorry to see you're leaving. I have to tell you that, and
I feel a little sad to be leaving
best.
too, but I think that the time is right, and I think that the work isn't about one person. It never is, and we're fortunate that the school committee selected John McDonough as the interim leader. John has really been with me every step of the way for the last 6 years, and with previous superintendents. He knows this city and loves this city very well, and I think most importantly, I've worked with a lot of chief financial officers. I have never worked with someone who so deeply understands education as well as the connection between education and how our resources are about our values. And so I think the city is extremely fortunate, and I know a lot of my colleagues feel that way.
A lot of people think this happens by magic. John, knowing what you do know, and you have been the CFO for quite a number of years, and we've known each other for a number as well. What were you thinking? My goodness. I'm saying that only half in jest because you know and you saw what Carol has gone through, and I know you keep a pretty frenetic schedule yourself. What were you thinking, and what guarantees did you seek before you said, "Whoa, wait a minute here"?
Well, Joe, there are no guarantees, but I have had the privilege of serving in Boston Public Schools for a good number of years and being blessed with very strong leadership in the school district. I do say to people, I'm not another Carol Johnson. I see it really as an opportunity for service. You talked in your introduction there about the turmoil in the city. I refer to it as transition. And I think during a period of transition, it's always important to focus on the core work, regardless of who leads us, regardless of who holds office. The core work of education will continue to be more than an important effort of this city. So for me, it really is, very humbly, an opportunity to be of service and to continue the traditions of strong leadership that I've been blessed with. And I also recognize that our work is really carried out by extraordinarily talented people in the district. So, as you know, my background is in finance and as chief financial officer of the organization. I rely on those people who have expertise in the academic areas to be extraordinarily powerful in stepping up and continuing the work that Dr. Johnson has led us in for the last 6 years.
Well, this is certainly, I won't say totally unique situation, but certainly this kind of transition. We're approximately 6 months from having a new mayor take office, and certainly they're looking to have their own leadership team in place, and including presumably new superintendent of schools. There's been some talk about filling in the position, and then others have said, well, how long would they be available at this point in time? Did you enter this, though, with the knowledge or the presumption that this is a 6-month situation? Will you be applying to be the new superintendent of schools?
So I think the school committee has been very intentional in assessing the year ahead of them. And we did have the opportunity to have Michael Casserly from the Council of Great City Schools address the school committee to familiarize themselves with a superintendent selection process. So I know that they are now focused on thinking about the process that needs to occur in this city. I don't believe that they presume that an actual request for applicants will occur until after we know who the next mayor will be. And frankly, for me, I am not looking to be superintendent for the long term. I believe it's the school committee's job to ensure that we both attract and are able to hire the best superintendent that this city deserves to lead us into the longer-term future.
Well, let's hope that when we get there, we find somebody as qualified and with the same energy that Dr. Johnson has.
Well, John, I'll say this. John works as many hours as I work already, and he always has. I see him on a lot of Saturdays and Sundays, so I know that he works tremendously hard. So this transition won't be hard for him at all. I do think that Michael O'Neill, who chairs